So hi everyone, it's me again after a long time. I know I haven't been consistent with how I upload on YouTube, but I've realized that in this new quarter, as we enter the winter arc, something that I really like to do is to talk to very intelligent people and people who I really have respect for because they enlighten me with new views. So today we're going to talk to someone who I have great respect for. This is someone who I know from college. In fact, I've seen him around for the last 2 years, but I've only started talking to him recently, and I've always had great respect for him from the way he talks. So, starting with, I'm not going to say your name because I've always messed it up. Can you just tell me how your name is pronounced, bro?
All right. Okay. First of all, you're one of the only few people who have not messed my name up, so that's really cool.
Okay,
It's
awesome.
pronounced Abdallah, Abdallah, Abdullah. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Uh,
tell me about the accent. There's a way to say it in Arabic, right? If I'm not wrong.
okay. In Arabic, it's pronounced with an ayn. Okay, so it's Abdullah.
Abdallah. Okay.
Abdullah. Yeah, exactly.
Abdullah. Nice.
Yeah. Honestly, no one here really sticks to that. They go like Abdullah, Abdul, all of that. So, so it's it's all good. So anything works.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So Abdullah here is, I'm actually going to clear out why I really respect this guy. So he is someone who reminds me of what it means to be faithful. Okay. So the thing is, we are living in a time right now wherein we have a lot of people lacking in their faith. And by faith, I mean it doesn't mean the religion, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu. It means following something that guides you to be a better person. And Abdullah is someone who has shown me that he is someone like that. So as we enter Q4 or as we enter this new, I'm going to clear out, this is the winter arc. Okay. So as we enter the winter arc, what is your experience been spiritually over the past like 9 months? 9 months.
All right. Okay. So here's what. Uh, Although Jonathan introduced me as someone he really respects and all of that, I'll come off by saying that me getting onto a podcast and me talking about how I am spiritually or religiously, or the fact that Jonathan says he respects me so much, I do want to come off as pretentious, number one, because I feel like there's so much of work for me to do, and there's so much I want to be that I am not yet. So I thought getting onto this podcast with Jonathan, someone who until very recent, like you said, I'd seen you around and I'd heard about you, but then I didn't really get to interact with you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this guy, he's like a very set, like very set in his ways, very strong principles from everything I'd heard from people, very respected, very disciplined. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be very interesting. So I'm so glad I'm on this, number one, and about how I came to be the way I am spiritually is what you asked.
Yeah, over the last nine, no, I mean, over the last 9 months, what's your journey been like? Give me an overview of it.
Okay. Uh, okay. Right off the bat, I'm not the most religious person you'll find. All right. I have my fair share of being not as religious as I'd like to be and messing up and trying to still follow straight. Okay. Um, Thing is, lately I'd gotten into like watching these YouTube videos, self-help and self like motivation, improvement, all of that. And for about a year or two, I'd been looking into like religious Islamic videos and how to build yourself better, that kind of thing. And honestly, for me, every step of the way has been okay. Am I better today than I was yesterday? Like, this such a like you hear every Tom, Dick, and Harry tell that, be better than you were the person you
Yeah.
were yesterday, blah, blah, blah. But then when it comes to stuff that you can increment very, very gradually in very tiny steps, remembering that, okay, every day, if I take this one step at a time, I could be, I could be 10 times better, like compared to how it was a month ago. You know,
Mhm.
Taking it that way was what I was looking at. So, okay, let's say, for example, um, not 9 months ago, but I just tell from about a year ago, whatever, whenever I started
100%.
this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like okay, I didn't pray as often. I didn't pray on time. So I'm like, okay, from today, at least one prayer a day, I'm gonna do like on time, one prayer a day. And then I did that for a week consistently. I'm like, okay, fine, I'm okay with this. Now I go like, okay, two prayers a day on time, one extra page of reading the Quran, stuff like that. Like
Hmm.
every single day, I'd be like, okay, fine, one more thing, one more thing, one more thing. Keep adding to my. And thing is, I kept like very, very achievable goals, like something I could, something I could see myself getting to, you know. And
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that it hasn't been like I haven't slipped up or I haven't, there's going to be like ups and downs and
It's a
stuff.
roller
But
coaster.
then, yeah, exactly. And you're going to have like your highs and your lows. And it seems like, it might not all get through and stuff, So that's been there. And it's not been a consistent journey. God, no, I'm not kidding. I am like, when you talk about discipline, I'm the last person I would think of because I I don't have very good time management or I procrastinate, stuff like that. And whatever I do, I'm not very consistent with. So finding that I was able to stick to my my improvement with regards to religion, that was like a huge jump for me because I'm like, okay, finally I'm getting to doing something that is working and it's helping and it's getting better and
Yeah.
it is fixing my procrastination. So I'm like, all right, this is extra motivation for me to keep going. And slowly, although it's not perfect, here and there, slip ups, that's how I got to, although
Awesome,
it's not a
bro.
great place where I am, but that's where I got.
Growing every single day. I mean, like you said, incremental growth, right? I don't know if you've seen this, but
Exactly.
you saw this Instagram post. I think this many people have used this. Okay, it's like 0.99 raised to something versus 1.01 raised to 365.
Right,
You've
right,
seen
right,
that,
right,
right?
right.
The values are completely
Yeah, yeah,
different. Like the
yeah. Right, right.
it's
It's like
incremental
many
change every
tiny
single day.
increments, but a huge number of times it leads to something
True.
massive, basically.
I
Tell me
think
about yours. Tell me about, yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, and I think people online also are starting to understand that because the term winter arc wasn't very famous until I feel like this year it really blew up. Everyone's talking about it because I feel like
Okay.
till last year or the year before that, everyone's journey in say fitness or business and all was very outcome based. That they wanted
Hmm.
something like at the end. But then I think over the years, as people experience more stuff, they realize that only incremental changes actually help. So that's why this whole term of winter arc became famous, right? 3 months going all
Right,
in 90 days every single day putting in your best and the outcome
right, right.
is whatever
Ha,
happens.
ha, ha.
So yeah, so about my journey, I essentially was, you say roller coaster, right? So mine
Yeah.
is high highs and low lows. So I
Okay.
always grew up as someone who was part of the church, who was very a devout Christian. I loved going to church. I loved learning about God. I loved all these things. But I think it was over the period of COVID when I came across the world essentially, and I realized why is obviously the traditional atheist question: why is there so much evil in the world, right? And
Okay.
why is there why does God allow evil to happen? And the basic atheist questions. I now find
Right,
that
right.
very low IQ, but like it's
Okay.
it's that question
Right.
now for me that makes no sense. But I did ask it
Okay.
before. So I used
Huh.
to keep asking those questions and secluded in my own room, in my own head for like a couple of months. It made me
Hmm.
realize that life is going on pretty well and pretty normally without God. So what's the need for him in the first place? And
Okay.
that really hit me. And honestly, I lived with that belief for a long period of time. And I'd still go to church, I'd still do my thing, but I never really gave myself into it because I was like, I'm living normally without it. What makes me like actually need it?
Okay.
So let's just say a couple experiences after that, over the period of COVID and after COVID, and as I was joining college, it made me
Okay.
realize that spirituality and God is not something that is fed to you. It's something that you pick up. It's not
Okay.
something that you are given. It's not like God is going to come behind your back and say, like, you know what, Abdallah or Jonathan, I love you so much. Like, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to. It's not like that. For me, I feel
Right.
like I entered this state of belief wherein God's love is eternal for us. His mercy is eternal for us. It's our duty to be responsible and accountable enough to pick up our crosses or pick up our in Christianity we say pick up our crosses because Jesus Christ
Okay.
took his cross when he was being killed. So we
Right.
pick up the things that challenge us and we live a life that's worthy of his mercy. So I started
Okay.
realizing that over college, and I feel like that's like my core belief right now with regards to spirituality or faith as a whole. Picking up my cross every single day and picking up the burdens that stand on top of my head so that I can live a life that's pleasing to God in the end.
Okay.
So, and that brings me to another question that I thought of when you were explaining your journey. I don't know much about Islam. Okay. One of my
Okay.
friends was gracious enough to give me a Quran as a gift, and I've read parts of it, but I've never understood the whole religion or its tenets completely. And I want to know from your aspect, what are, as a 19-year-old or as a 20-year-old, what are some of the tenets or some of the rules or some of the sayings or ideals of Islam that really inspire you the most?
Uh, okay. Ideals or some that inspire me most. Okay, this is something I have to think about. Okay, the thing is,
Take your
when it
time. And
comes to,
also, if you
yeah,
feel free to quote any hadith or surah or whatever it is that you want
sure,
to
sure, sure.
talk
Yeah.
about.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. That's good. Um, Here's what. Whenever, whenever it's like, so there was this. Do you know Lex Fridman?
Yeah, amazing
Okay,
guy. I
have you
love
seen
him.
his? Beautiful, beautiful. Like when you talk about this podcast thing, right? I'm like, okay, shit, this has potential to come like Lex Fridman level. Because have you seen the way he talks to his the people who he hosts on his podcast? Like,
It's
what
so,
beautiful questions, dude! Like,
I swear,
such well thought out questions, like
there's so
perfect
much
for the person who's
empathy
interviewing.
involved. The empathy in his voice
Exactly,
is just next level.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like he's very open to he's like very open to their point of view. Like, okay, I'm going to listen to this guy and I'm going to understand exactly what this person is saying
Mhm.
and get their point of view, you know? Yeah. Okay, anyway. So he was interviewing, have you heard of Umar Suleiman?
Not really. I've heard of the
Okay,
name,
okay,
but I
that's all, that's
haven't
all.
come across his content. So yeah.
Right, right. Okay. So he is this Islamic scholar slash imam slash okay.
Okay.
And he was saying, I was seeing on one of his videos recently that when you approach Islam, and this is something I understood, but I didn't really internalize until I
Okay.
heard it from him. That when you look at the Quran and when you look at Islam from an outside from like a Muslim point of view, not like an outside point of
Hmm.
view. When you look at it from Islam point of view, you find that more than do's and don'ts and more than restrictions and halal and haram and more than it being like do your salah or give charity, it's more uh, how you perfect living your life, like how you go about routine things, how you do stuff, how you behave, your character, your deeds, your on a day-to-day thing to become the ideal person, the ideal Muslim, like following the examples of the prophets or the examples of Muslim, like prophets or like Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And it's it's like way of life over do's and don'ts, through
Hmm.
religion.
It's not rules.
So
It's becoming someone who's ideal, not following a
exactly
set of
how to
rules.
live the best lifestyle in the way of God you can, you know.
Hmm. Okay.
And I think that's what most interested me. Like more than looking at it as okay, I should do this and I shouldn't do this, and these are rules and these are things I should follow. I should fast and I should give charity and I should perform pilgrimage. Instead of all of that, it's like every small every small action uh, that is asked to be followed, or every small hadith, how it how it impacts the way you do things every day, you know, and
Absolutely.
and honestly seeing how all of that tied itself to actual science and how it had real world implications is what really like brought me into this fold of Islam where I try to make it a part of my daily life, or where I was most attracted by it. So I think that's what interests me most about Islam.
Yeah. So that's about Islam. So as you follow Islam every single day, like you said, in your way of life, when you're trying to become the ideal Muslim, is there a particular tenet or a particular rule that you like to keep above everything else?
Above everything else, I think it's not a rule I like to keep above everything else, but it's a it's a belief. Okay, for me, it's like God has a plan that is better planned out than what you have set in your short-term plan. So
Yeah.
have faith in God and go about your plan. That is what I put above everything else. Like there is a superior plan. Do everything you can in your control to be the best person you can, to be the most following Muslim you can, and everything falls into place.
Yeah.
Like whenever you are at the lowest of lows, or whenever even at your highest of highs, even at the best times, know that it's all part of the plan, and there's like a structure to the way things are going with just belief in God. You know?
Yeah. I mean, basically, you're saying at the end of everything, it's all God, even if it's the highs or if it's the lows.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice. In fact, you what you just said reminded me of something I read this morning actually. So in the
Okay.
Bible, right? So there's this chapter in what we call the Gospels, which is like an account of Jesus' life story. So
Hmm.
there's a chapter called Luke chapter 17. Okay, so inside that there was this one portion, which is basically like he's telling to his followers. Okay, so suppose one of you has a servant that's plowing or looking after his sheep. So when
Okay.
he comes in from the field, are you going to tell him, come and sit with me to eat? Or won't you be tired? Or would you rather say, prepare my supper, get yourself ready and wait for me while I eat, and then you eat? Okay. Then he says,
Okay.
will you be thanking the servant for everything that he did when that was his job? So you also, when you have done everything that you were told to do, you should say, we are still unworthy servants. We have only done our duty.
Right.
It's like when everything is it's very easy to like I'll tell you something about the Christian faith right now. Okay, so I'm not trying to
Okay.
go into how there's many denominations in Christianity right now, right? There's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
billion. So I'm not trying to go into specific denominations here, but there's been a
When you
recent
when you when you say denominations, you mean like RC and Marthum and all that? That's what
yeah,
you mean?
yeah, RC,
Okay.
Marthoma,
Okay.
that's
Fine. Okay.
Pentecost,
Okay.
all
Okay.
those.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
recently, even in my church and in many other churches, right, there's been a new trend or a new wave of faith which likes to portray us Christians or us followers of God as children who are loved by God. Okay, and
Okay.
fine, you want to keep that belief, no issues. But it's a very
Right.
um, okay, I'll give you an example. There's this pastor called Joel Austin. There are these really, really famous pastors who are very prosperity. Okay, like they keep talking that
Okay.
God is abundant, God is giving, God is prosperous. What you want
Okay.
will come for you. You will get the most amount of money. You will get this. And then
Right.
I watched that, okay, and I'm like, the person who is in Lebanon right now, who's getting bombed to death, but is still a believer in God, he is a martyr for God, and he doesn't have to believe that God is abundant. He's going to save me from the bombs. He's going to protect me from. He is still going to believe in God, whether he's being bombed or not. He picks up
Yes.
his. That is his eternal duty as a follower of God. They, we don't have to give ourselves special status as followers of God. In the end, we are still
Right.
unworthy sinners. And that's something I understood this morning because, like I told you, it's very easy right now in my faith and generally a new trend of belief on Instagram, if you open, that abundance is coming or prosperity is something that you deserve. It's like God is always prosperous.
Okay.
Everything good is related to God. There's nothing bad that's
Right.
related to Him. Whatever you work for and whatever that comes to you is nothing on your account. In the end, you're still a sinner. That's the
Okay.
identity that you have to embrace. And so that when you
Okay.
told me right now what you just told me, right, that's what hit me.
Mm.
In my faith also, like what I read this morning was keep that identity. In the end of everything,
Right.
there is
Right.
still an ideal that you will never reach. That's perfect for
Right.
God.
There's somewhere you still have to get to. There's always more to strive for if you believe
Absolutely.
what you just said.
Correct.
Yeah,
You're always going to be lacking. There's nothing that's going to be perfect about you.
right, 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 right.
So yeah, so damn, I like how we didn't plan it. So first of all, anyone who's watching this, I messaged Abdullah like, I think 75 minutes back. I'm saying minutes because it's that close back. So it's like I messaged him just an hour and a half back saying, you know what, let's do a podcast. And then we talked now, and then we're agreeing on this. Insane. Okay, awesome.
I'm not kidding. When Jonathan told me about this podcast, I'm like, yo, that's such a good idea because I've always wanted to like do something like this. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be great. We're gonna, I'm gonna have a talk with a proper dude, who knows his stuff. And he's like, yeah, bro, get ready by 11. I'm like, wait, what the hell?
Wait,
Yeah,
right
but
now?
it's so good.
Seriously?
I was so surprised, but I don't want to say anything because I'm like, yeah, if we don't do it right now, it's not gonna happen. Like when I got on
Correct.
the thing also, Jonathan's like, yeah, I thought we'd do it right now, otherwise it wouldn't have happened. So props to you for taking that initiative. I've always wanted to do something like this, but I never really got into it.
That's
So
awesome,
amazing.
bro.
That's nice.
I'm happy
Yeah,
to know that because exchange of ideas is very fun, honestly. In any
it is.
sense.
It is.
Even if it's with
Yeah,
ideas you don't agree with. When people just tell you stuff, you're like, that's another point of view. I never would
yeah.
think
That's
that.
something that I've never looked at it like that. Exactly.
It's awesome.
Yeah, especially. Look, I consider myself a religious person, not the best religious person,
Mhm.
not the best kind I could be, but then I do. And having talked to someone who I think is just as or even more driven religiously is so nice because like there's so much we can agree upon and there's so much we can like look at each other's perspective and then figure out ourselves. That's so cool. That's such a
Correct.
nice concept.
Like we can take what we agree with, we can discuss what we disagree with, but we can still learn from that. It's all
Exactly,
learning
exactly,
experience. You
exactly,
either you get something good or you learn something new. That's it. There's
exactly. Yeah.
nothing bad that happens from talking. It's awesome. Yeah.
That's good. In that same direction, I was thinking like when you told me about this podcast, and oh, by the way, if you guys don't know, there's this group that Jonathan started where it's basically the whole winter arc thing, and you develop and you grow yourself physically and mentally and upskill yourself until the end of this year and even after that, hopefully. But then the goal is the end of this year and see where you get. So Jonathan started that group on WhatsApp and he added quite a few people over there, and everyone's just
Yeah.
as driven and determined. So right when you added me to that group, I'm like this is like the ideal setup because from whatever I know of you, you're a really, really, really disciplined and very fixed, rigid, principled person, which I find really amazing. Which is why I want to ask you, what really, what got you where you are? What got you so disciplined, and what is it that drives you? I know religion is a huge part of it, and to fight
Yeah.
in the way of God and to live in the way God wants you to live and be the best person religiously. That is very
True.
valid and that is amazing. But apart from religious reasons,
From a personal point of
what
view.
drives you exactly personally? What drives you to be the person you are?
So you know how, okay, for example, you know how when you went to the gym today, right? You worked out.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you know how when you do a normal set, after that you feel good. But you know the point when you like surpass your limits and you can go to failure and you can
right.
feel after that you feel
The burn.
the burn and your mind is on another level where you know like
Hmm.
okay, I'm capable of this. So
Okay.
you know that feeling, right? Where I'm
Yeah,
actually capable of this. So I've
yeah.
noticed throughout my life, blessing of God only, but I've noticed that at times I see that I have the capacity for some things that others don't. And
Okay.
this is from a very like as humble a perspective as possible because
Right, right,
like from a like for example, right, when I tell in the group that we've created that okay, you're not allowed to skip gym like for more than this much period of time or you're being kicked out. It's
right.
like it's not because I like to say that or it's not because it sounds fun or it sounds like I'm being this very coach kind of dude. No, it's because
Hmm.
when I see other people right with this much potential, it like gives me it's like a reflection for me. I'm like, I have this much potential. I have to make everyone else also like in that level.
Right, right. right.
So I think
And that
from
it cycles and drives you.
correct, it's like I
Yeah.
feed off that energy from everyone else.
Right, right,
So
right.
what got me here is essentially there was some point in my life, I don't know when exactly, like it's called a collection of moments, okay, like collection of
Okay.
multiple moments where it kept hitting me like, you know what, you're not special. You're still a normal person. But
Okay.
there's some edge that you have that if you just
Right,
double down on, you're really going to go far. And by go far, I
right.
don't mean, sure, I'm not, I'm going to be very honest here. I want to be wealthy. I'd love to have the cars, the houses. I'd love to have everything. But more
For
than
sure. Yeah.
anything, to walk in this world knowing that you are a force. You're not just you're not just walking through the world. You're walking through the world with force. You
Right.
know, I don't want to use
You
GTA.
have an impact. You're leaving a mark.
You're leaving a mark, and I don't want to use GTA terms, but you're not an NPC. You're an actually
Right, right, right,
walking force on this planet that's making things happen.
right.
So, like, because of you, other people are better. Because of you, you're able to give to other people. You're able to do great things for other people, and that itself is something that motivates me. So, I think that's the main belief that I run on, and the energy that I
Yeah.
feed off on is when I meet people like you and in the group when people like all work together to focus on one goal, like how we want fitness, right? Same thing.
Right.
So yeah,
So that's what drives you. Okay. That's what pushes you to do things like
yeah.
this. But then here's what makes it what makes it different for you than let's say it does for someone who is struggling with meeting their goals or stopping procrastination. What is it that you are doing differently that is pushing you to reach where you are?
Funnily enough, I thought about this when I was in the shower 2 days back.
Okay.
Which is
Okay.
very,
Damn,
very detailed, but
you're like thinking about everything we're talking about beforehand, yeah?
yeah, weird detail, but yeah. It's like, okay,
Okay.
when you're hungry, right? If you
Yeah.
go on a 3 day water fast, you'll know what I mean. I did it once, I'm never
Yeah.
going to do it again. When you go on
Okay.
2 days, you'll do whatever you can to stay satiated
Okay.
if you don't have the option to eat. Like if you're
Okay.
hungry and if you didn't have the option to eat, you will do whatever you could to get food. Okay.
Right.
Are you gonna think, oh, I'll get food later, I don't feel like it?
No, no, obviously not. Yeah.
Obviously not. So I used to very much like you read procrastination books, like how do you stop procrastination? How do you be your most productive self? All of these things. And then I realized when you like truly want something, there's no way you won't be anti-procrastinative in nature. There's no way
Okay.
you won't be unproductive. It's like if you
Right.
like someone, right? You're gonna pursue
Right.
that girl like with your entire life, right?
Yeah.
Because
Valid.
that's what's in your head. That's all you want. So I feel like
Right.
it's all a question of how bad do you want it. Because if you want it enough, you don't need any productivity hack, no book, nothing. You'll just sit and finish it. Like you'll just do what you
Right.
can to get it. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's as simple as that. How bad do you want it? If you want it good enough,
Right.
you'll do it. That's
So what your advice would be to people who let's say want something but are not able to achieve it? They just don't want it bad enough.
bad enough, really, because humans are very, how do you say, retrospective creatures. So we know when we really want something and when we are just, faking it or when we are
Right.
keeping it on a surface level. We know our
Okay.
consciousness knows it. So when we
Right.
truly want something, our body and mind will work together to make it happen. Like,
Right. 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 Right.
I agree you need 8 hours of sleep, all of the thing, your body needs health and all of that,
Mm.
okay? But
Right.
say Elon Musk, I really respect him. If Elon Musk has to send a rocket to Mars, I don't think he like his body, like the stuff that he's done with Tesla and when it was bankrupt and all the stuff he's done with his company, right? You should check it out. It's pretty insane.
Okay.
At the time, his body was working like 72 hours without sleep, with at peak
Okay.
capacity. Because
Right.
because your his brain was in that zone. That's what he wanted.
Right. Right. Right.
Your
Right.
body, his body and mind worked for it. Like that, so many other great people who I respect are like the sports people. Boxers get 1 hour of sleep before a fight, and they still win. Because
Right. Right.
their brain and body work for it. So I feel like once your consciousness wants it good enough, there's no way your body and mind won't,
Work together to achieve it.
to achieve it. So just wanting it
Mm.
is good, as simple as.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You said like you respect Elon Musk and you were talking about these boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
Who are a few people that inspire you? Yeah, who are people that inspire you?
that inspire me. Okay, number one is obviously Jesus Christ. I don't think there's any
Obviously.
person I've seen who, okay, not a teacher, but had many students. Not
Okay.
didn't do anything rebellious, but was still killed. Didn't like
Okay.
never did anything wrong, but was still hated for it.
Right.
Absolute inspiration. Apart from that, on Earth, right? I feel like actually one example is Travis Scott. Okay, Travis Scott is someone I
Okay.
really look up to, mainly because
Okay.
I put a LinkedIn post about this yesterday because he's very high energy. Okay, he's
Hmm.
always fighting in all directions. Either he's doing a designer brand with Nike, or he's doing like 100 concerts where it's all sold out, or he's releasing new tracks every single day, or he's flying around like he's always doing something. Like he's
Right.
all
He's fighting
directions
in all
he's channeled.
directions. Yeah.
Exactly, all
Yeah.
directions are being channeled upon. So that's a
Okay.
type of personality that I really like. Then there are so many people, but from fighters, I like Khabib. There's nobody that
Okay.
matches Khabib from his
Obviously.
the
Obviously.
way he pray, pray workout.
Right.
That's it. I mean, when he wins, he
Like
gives it
he's a
his all also.
machine.
Machine.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I guess there are many people, but people that come to my mind right now is this. What about you?
People that motivate me, and okay, fine. People I look up to. Obviously the Prophet knows first. No?
Yeah.
Goes without saying. Apart from okay, so spiritually, obviously Prophet, and in other aspects also Prophet. But then I'm not going to go into detail about that. But then, uh, people on Earth. It's have you heard of this YouTuber called Ali Abdal?
Yeah, I do.
For some reason, I look up to him.
Hmm.
Uh, Look, not because he's like productivity guru and all,
Understood,
but
understood.
then yeah, but the way he okay, he was in Cambridge med school, okay, and very smart, very driven, top of his class. Became a doctor, went on for a higher degree and stuff, and he quit that, uh, pivoted into YouTube, got into like 7, 8 different businesses. Few of them he started, and then he developed his whole space around that. And I was thinking, like being someone like being brilliant enough and hardworking enough to get into one of the top medical colleges and become as successful a person as you are, and then finding the the balls basically to
Yeah,
drop what you're doing and pivot into something entirely different.
true.
That's something that I was like, wow, you need like some insane, you need determination, you need hard work, you need like proper trust in yourself, you need to be confident you can pull it off, you need to know that you have the knowledge to do these things,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Very, very inspiring. That's something I want to. I was telling you earlier on the WhatsApp group, right? That uh, I want to be an orator. I want to be able to speak properly and be able to get my points and thoughts across in like a proper
Articulate
way.
better.
Articulate, exactly. And uh, yeah, basically have command over the things I do. That's basically what I thought Ali Abdal like perfected
He's
so well,
achieved it. Okay. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
nice. I have to learn that about him actually. I have to read more about him. I didn't know that about his past.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he's like this productivity guru.
Genius.
He's not a guru. He's on another level, dude. Like absolutely insane. You should see some of his videos. Crazy.
Okay, I will. I've only seen the ones that got famous, like about his productivity hacks, but then I didn't know this about him, so I'm gonna do it.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy.
So then I'm guessing that for the Q4 or the winter arc, something that you want to develop apart from your fitness is also this social skill, being able to be an orator, being someone more knowledgeable,
Yeah.
and is there anything else that you have in your mind?
Something else I want is yeah. Okay. Like I said, right. Okay. So I told you I had this fitness goal and this social skills ka goal and all. And the thing is, let's just say I'm like going towards these two goals. Yeah. Whatever in whatever way I can,
Yeah,
I'm trying to achieve these two goals, whether it's every day or whether I miss out day, whatever. But at the end, even I feel like even if I don't achieve these goals, even if I'm like, let's say 60 or 70 or
yeah,
80% done, how much ever I'm 40% done, I want to be able to come out of this quarter with like having mastered discipline. Even if I'm not as physically
If not
fit as I want
100%,
to be.
at least you did your best, basically.
Yeah, best. And also, even if I don't achieve my goal, I want to know that I did everything in my control to achieve it. I want to know that I was disciplined enough to be able to get there eventually.
Hmm.
I want to build that discipline.
That
So,
discipline.
like, discipline is something that I will probably build along the way as I'm working towards these things. But even if I maybe I'm not able to achieve these things, if I find that I have implemented discipline in my life to some degree because of this,
That is a
I
win.
think that will be fulfilling enough.
That is a
Exactly.
win, bro. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so, on that note, bro, our time is almost up because this meeting will
Yes,
finish
sir.
soon. So, apologies, we got cut off because Zoom has a time limit and we have to figure out another way to do this. But because this was the first time, if you didn't do it now, we would never do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, that was it,
So,
it was good that we got it done with, that was nice.
true. And so,
Yeah.
to everyone watching, expect to see a lot more of Abdallah on this channel because, like I said, I love discussing with intelligent minds, and he is definitely one of them. So, I'm going to put his Instagram on the description below. And if you guys have any ideas of what you like what topics you'd like to have been spoken about, or the things that you want us to touch upon, or if there's any suggestions you have on a whole, just let us know. I mean, just let me know on the comment section here. So that was a completely messed up outro, but I don't care. Have to do it either way. So yeah,
Awesome, awesome. Also, this goes without saying, I'm very flattered with all the stuff Jonathan's talking about me. But then, what happens is I tend to watch a lot like podcasts and videos off of YouTube and stuff, and it's always people who are very specialized in their domain talking about stuff and like starting their podcast. And I feel like I am in no way as much of a person as I'd like to be. So take everything you take with a grain of salt. But then I feel like this is such a nice step for us to take. It was nice. I feel
true,
like it's only going to get better here on out.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
take it with a grain of salt. Basically, take everything you see with a grain of salt. With what you see online anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Also that.
awesome.
All right,
So
Jonathan. It was
take care,
amazing. It
Abdullah.
was nice.
Good night and bye
Yes,
bye to
sir.
everyone.
Bye bye.